कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees and pranams. Thank you for joining in for Ramayana study session. Let's start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapatakamallam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरजुषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्र पातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं. हरिः ओं तत्सत्. गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय धरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. आराध्य भगवान् ब्रजेशतनया तद्धाम वृन्दावनं रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता. श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमर्तो महान्. श्रीचैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र धरनापर. आई दीन दयाद्रनाथ है मथुरा नाथ कदा अवलोक्य से हृदयं त्वदालोक कातरं दैत्य भ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम्. Hare Krishna. So thank you devotees for joining in for our Ramayana study session today. We discussed last time about the appearance, the transcendental appearance of Lord Ram along with his brothers Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. So now let's continue reading. Let me share my screen. We'll continue reading from where we left last time about the how Vasishta Muni, he names all the children. He names them Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna, and the glory of Lord Ram, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. So this is where we ended yesterday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah, so we were seeing how of all the brothers, Rama was especially glorious. Why? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshavadrita, Rama Sharira, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita, Rama Sharira, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Right? We are talking about that Lord Krishna, who is the source of all the incarnations, who's now appeared as Lord Ramachandra, Maryada Purushottam, Lord Sri Ram. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. So devotees who would like to read can raise your hands and then we'll go ahead. Okay, yeah, Karpavali Mataji, go ahead. And then Rajneesh Prabhu can read. Others who would like to read can raise your hands. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, am I audible, Mataji? Am I audible, Mataji? Hare Krishna, am I audible? Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna, am I audible, Mataji? Mataji? Of all the brothers, Rama was especially glorious. His attractive body had the hue of a celestial emerald, dressed in the finest silk and adorned with golden ornaments. He captured the mind of all who saw him. Rama was devoted to his father's service. He took delight in the science of archery and quickly mastered the arts of horseback and elephant riding, as well as the various methods of driving a chariot. Lakshman was deeply attached to his elder brother Rama from his infancy. He was like a second self to Rama, and he pleased him in every way. Unless Lakshman was present, Rama would neither sleep nor eat. Whenever Rama went out to the forest to hunt, Lakshman would follow at his heels, guarding him on all sides. Shatrughna was just as dear to Bharata, and these two brothers were also inseparable. Dasarada felt as pleased with his four sons as Brahma feels with four gods presiding over the four quarters of the universe. Those princes were tigers among men, yet they were modest, wise, far-sighted, and glorious in every way. They were attached to their studies and soon became well versed in all aspects of kingship. As the prince's studies neared completion, the king began to think about their marriages. One day, while lost in such thoughts, the powerful mystic Viswamitra arrived at his palace. The sage instructed the gatekeepers, tell the king that Viswamitra, the son of Gadi, is at his door. Upon seeing the lustrous rishi, the gatekeepers were struck with awe. They ran to Dasratha's quarters to inform him. Dasratha quickly went with his minister to greet the sage, even as Indra might greet Brahma. As soon as he saw Viswamitra standing at his door, the king respectfully brought him in, sat him down, and personally washed his feet. Standing with folded palms before the sage, Dasratha was thrilled with joy as he spoke. I consider your arrival here to be as welcome as the obtaining of celestial nectar in one's own hands, as rainfall arrived in a desert, as the birth of a child to a childless couple, or as the recovery of a lost treasure. What can I do for you today? Dasratha was aware of Viswamitra's glory. The sage was famous all over the world for his performance of difficult austerities and his virtuous behavior. He was also well known for his almost limitless powers. Once, by his own aesthetic power, he had created an entire constellation of planets which still shone in the southern sky. The king felt honored to see him and wondered what had brought him to Ayodhya. Sitting at Viswamitra's feet, Dasratha continued to address him. You are worth to address him. You are you are worthy of my service in every way. And so, and it is by good fortune that you have called at my door. My night had ended in a splendid sunrise, as I see here before me the best of the Brahmin sages. Simply by seeing you, I have received a blessing equal to the equal to the results of visiting every place of pilgrimage. I wish now to perform some pleasing work for you, a noble sage, and you may consider it already completed. As a guest, you are as good as God to me, and I shall not hesitate to do anything you desire. Addressed in such a delightful way, Vishwamitra felt joy as he replied to Dasratha, your speech has pleased me in every way, O tiger among kings. You are descended from a proud ancestry and have been instructed by the godlike sage Vasishtha. Make a firm resolve to satisfy my desire and prove true to your promise, O virtuous one. Vishwamitra had walked for 3 days without eating or sleeping, his mind fixed on his purpose. His body was lean and powerful, golden colored, and covered by a black deer skin. He held in his hands a staff and a water pot, his only possessions. He had come to ask something from Dasratha, which he knew he would be hard for the king to grant. The sage gazed thoughtfully into Dasratha's eyes as he spoke. I stand here. Thank you, Mother.
So this is very interesting. Vishwamitra is known for giving curses, isn't it? So if Vishwamitra is coming, even in Mahabharata, we see that when the Pandavas are exiled to the forest, Vishwamitra actually visits Duryodhana, and Duryodhana, he being in the kingdom, is able to serve Vishwamitra very nicely. And then what does he do? He actually sends them along with his 1,000 sages, followers, to he asks them to go to Yudhishthira Maharaj in the forest. Right, at that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj was exiled, and he did not have anything. He only had, by the grace of Krishna, he only had that Akshaya Patra, which could produce unlimited food, but that could produce unlimited food only until Draupadi has her meal. Right, once Draupadi has her meal and that plate is washed, it can produce no more food. Right, and according to that, timed everything. Duryodhana actually sent Vishwamitra to our Yudhishthira Maharaj. Right, and at that time, we all know this pastime. How Vishwamitra comes, and then he tells that, okay, I'm going to take bath and come back in in 5-10 minutes, and then of course it is the duty of the king. Yudhishthira Maharaj invites him for lunch, right? But then when he discusses with Draupadi says that I have already eaten, and I have already washed the Lakshya Patra. Now it is not going to produce any more food, like that. So when that happens, then what happens? Draupadi immediately thinks of Lord Krishna, right? When she thinks of Lord Krishna immediately comes and then asks Draupadi, right? There should be some food lying in that particular vessel. If I have that, then everything will be solved. And then they find a small particle, and Krishna has that, and Vishwamitra and all the 1,000 sages, they all get completely full, and then they don't even come back after the bath, right? Because what will they do? They cannot eat. And in this way, Duryodhana was trying to put Yudhishthira Maharaj into trouble, the Pandavas into trouble, because he knew that Vishwamitra could curse very easily, like that. Yeah. So in this way, in every case, right, even Vishwamitra Muni was known for his very too much anger in that case. So what happened? In this case, what happened? Vishwamitra Muni, he was waiting, right? He knew that this was something, what he was going to ask was not something that Dasharatha Maharaj could give easily, right? Because he was going to ask Lord Ram to actually come, because the various demons like Subahu, Marichi, and all of them were actually destroying the Yajna Kundas, and they were not allowing them to perform the Yajnas. So he had actually come to ask for Lord Ram, right? And that is why he's telling, and when Dasharatha Maharaj, as like a normal king would welcome the sages, right? And he's immediately telling, I will fulfill all your wishes, because what he thought is, whatever Vishwamitra is asking, I will be able to satisfy because I'm the king, right? And he was willing to do anything. Even he was willing to give up his own life also for the pleasure of the sages, right? So that was the kind of ruler he was. So he was very confident that he could do, but Vishwamitra Muni knew in his heart of hearts it was going to be very difficult, because he was going to ask for Lord Ram. And King Dasharatha had no idea, because Lord Ram is such a small, he would have been like 5-6 years or 7 years or maximum 11 years, they say. when Vishwamitra Muni actually comes, right? And then I think Lord Ram marries Sita when he is about 12 years old. So like that, the pastime goes on. So here he especially tells Dasharatha, right, that may you fulfill your word, right? So in that way, we see that Vishwamitra understands that once he actually starts, or when he asks his requirement, then Dasharatha may not be willing to fulfill his promise because he was going to ask for Lord Ram himself. Right? Let's see what happens here. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah. Correct. It was Durvasa Muni. Yeah. So I just thought of this because Vishwamitra is also known for his curses, and Vishwamitra is also known for fighting. He had a big fight with Vasishta, who's the Kulaguru of Lord Ramachandra. So in this way, they were fighting over a Kamadhenu cow, right? And how Vishwamitra, he wanted to get that cow irrespective of anything. So he did not have a good relationship with Vasishta Muni, who happens to be the Kulaguru of Dasharath Maharaj, right? So in that way, also, Dasharath Maharaj did not take sides that, he is the enemy of my Kulaguru Vasishta Muni, right? So in that way, Vishwamitra Muni is also known for his huge powers and is also, he also used to get very angry, just like Durvasa Muni, and used to curse. So in this way, when Dasharath Maharaj also consults Vasishta Muni, he tells, give whatever Vishwamitra Muni is asking, right? Otherwise, he will curse, and a curse is sage. A sage's curse is going to prove very bad for the king as well as for the entire kingdom. So in that way, with a heavy heart, actually, Dasharath Maharaj will send Lord Ram. So let's see how it unfolds. Who's reading next? Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead. I stand here this very day from there.
Hare Krishna Mataye Jindal Pranam. I stand here this very day con- consecrated for a sacrifice. However, two powerful Rakshasa demons named Marich and Subahu constantly impede its performance. These demons are avowed, avowed enemies of both gods and humans. They are capable of ranging the skies and assuming any form they like. Every time my sacrifice is close to completion, these rakshas appear overhead and drop down volumes of flesh and blood, running it entirely. Averted in my attempt, I have left that sacrifice feeling dispirited, having accomplished nothing other than exertion. Darshat
Listened intently.
Dashrath listened intensely. As the sage spoke, he knew that Vishwamitra would not have come to him, the emperor of the earth, unless there was some difficult task at hand. The Rakshas were dangerous beings who hated sages. The king knew they had been increasingly disruptive, and this was now confirmed by Vishwamitra. Although capable of destroying those Rakshas with a curse, O king, I will not do so. As a condition of my sacrifice is that I don't give way to anger. My mind must remain steady and controlled, nor is it the sacred duty of Brahmins to attack an enemy. This is always the duty of kings and warriors. Please, therefore, give to me, please, therefore, give to me your eldest and most heroic son, Rama. Although a youth, Rama is possessed of true prowess,
Prowess.
prowess and is more than a match for any Rakshasa. The king's mouth fell open. He gazed in horror at Vishwamitra. Was he serious? Said Rama. The prince was just a boy. He had never seen action on the battlefield. Of course, there was no doubting his bravery and prowess. But how could he face the Rakshas? Those vicious beings knew every kind of sorcery they could contend with. They could contend with even the gods. What chance would a youth like Rama stand against them? Seeing the king's reaction, Vishwamitra tried to reassure him, you need certain and you need entertain no fear on Rama's account. Accompanied by me, he will proceed safely to the sacrificial arena immediately upon encountering those Rakshas who are overly proud of their strength. I am sure he will quickly dispatch them. Therefore, release Rama and let him remain with me for a period of but 10 days. Don't allow your parental affection to prevail. I shall confer upon Rama boons by which he will attain fame in all the world. I will then return him unharmed. O king, you should not have any doubt. Vishwamitra fell silent. He was aware of Rama's true identity. By his meditations, the sage could see in his heart the supreme God, and he knew Rama to be that same person. Vishwamitra understood that the annihilation of the demons was a part of Rama's plans on the earth. The sage was acting only as an instrument of the Lord's desire. Dasharatha stood mortified, oblivious to the divinity of his young son, overpowered by grief at the prospect of losing his young son Rama. Trembling all over, King felt pained at heart and fell unconscious to the ground, remaining senseless, remaining, sen-
Senseless for some time. I mean, unconscious for some
remaining senseless for some time. Dashrath finally came round and said to the sage, my lotus-eyed son is less than 16 years old. How then can he fight with Rakshas? I myself, marching at the head of hundreds of thousands of highly trained soldiers, shall personally come to wage war on the demons. Don't take Ram. Dakshata sought desperately to change Vishwamitra's mind. For as long as he breathed, he said he would stand with bow in his hand and beat back any Rakshasa who came to attack Vishwamitra's sacrifice. The sage need not no need the sage need have no doubt. Dashrata wailed piteously, the Rakshas are given to treacherous fighting. Inexperienced Rama is still not fully trained. He is yet unable to estimate the strength or weakness of the enemy, nor is he familiar with the use of celestial weapons necessary for dispatching such powerful enemies as Rakshas.
Hare Krishna.
Dakshat,
Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So this is very interesting, right? So why Vishwamitra asks Lord Ram is part of Lord Ram's plan itself, right? That Lord Ram, when he appeared, yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamiham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, right? When the Lord appears, he appears to fulfill certain principles and according to the will of the Lord, the devotees of the Lord, the sages, his eternal parshadas, they all come forward so that the plan of the Lord can be materialized. So in that way, Vishwamitra comes and asks for Lord Ram to kill those demons, Subahu, Marichi, right, Tataka, right, and all this, Dasharath Maharaj is thinking, 16 years is mentioned here. I've read elsewhere that maybe it was 12 years old when Vishwamitra took, and then Lord Ram married Sita, 12 years old, but here it's mentioned less than 16. So still Dasharath Maharaj felt, Lord Ram is such a small boy, he's not even completely been trained in the warfare and everything, right? But why does the Supreme Personality of Godhead need training, right? Of course, in the Vatsalya Bhav, Dashrath Maharaj is not remembering that Lord Ram is the supreme personality of Godhead, and it is not at all necessary for Dashrath Maharaj to have this kind of doubt, and he could send Lord Ram with Vishwamitra Muni, to fulfill his purpose of his incarnations, right? And then what happens is all part of the Leela of Lord Ram, right? So in this way, let's continue reading. These are all the pastimes of the Lord, which does not require much of um, explanation or anything. So in case there's something worth discussions, we'll go ahead. Otherwise, we'll just continue and read these pastimes. These are all very sweet pastimes of how the Lord, kills these demons and how he goes to Mithila. Vishwamitra Muni takes him to Mithila. Then how he does the Swayamvar, right? And he wins the hand of Mother Sita and everything. So let's quickly go ahead and read these wonderful pastimes as given by Krishna Dharma Prabhu, who is disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, who's reading next? Okay, Deval Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
From there.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dhanvat Pranam. Dashrata knelt before the sage. He looked up at him with tears in his eyes. Seeing Vishwamitra's resolute expression, he took hold of his feet and implored him to relent. He tried to think of life without Ram. It was unimaginable. After such a long time and so much prayer, he had finally obtained a son worthy to succeed him. And such a son, it seemed that each passing day, Ram endeared himself more to his elders with his virtuous behavior. Now he was just attaining maturity and could soon be installed as Prince Regent. How could he lose Ram now? He continued his plea. Separated from Rama, I doubt I shall survive for even an hour. Please do not take him, or if you really must, then please also allow me to go with him. Taking my entire army, I shall station myself on the battlefield and ward off the demons. Tell me all that you know about those Rakshasas, O sage, and I shall make every preparation. Vishwamitra replied, There is a Rakshasa named Ravana to whom Brahma has granted a boon of invulnerability. Sorry, invulnerability. Possessed of extraordinary strength and followed by numerous other Rakshasas, he has oppressed both heaven and earth to the utmost degree. When this mighty demon cannot himself be bothered to assail the sacrifices of sages, he sends out his two lieutenants, Maricha and Subahu. However, hearing Ravana's name, the king became alarmed. He stood up suddenly. Even the gods and Gandharvas, united with the entire heavenly host, cannot defeat that demon. How then shall I, a mere mortal, stand before him? What then of Rama? What then of Rama? Brahma has made Ravana unslayable. I, with all my troops, will prove incapable of overcoming Ravana, who deprives even the most powerful fighters of their prowess on the battlefield. The king had heard numerous accounts of Ravana's exploits. Many years ago, the demon had slain Anaranya, his ancestor. The demon had defeated the gods and had even once fought and overcome the mighty Yamraja. To confront him in battle was more or less suicide. The king clasped his hands together. How can I permit my gentle son to go out? Under no circumstances can I allow Rama to risk his life against Ravana. Rather, I shall go out myself with my army to protect your sacrifice, even if it means my death. Rama shall remain here. Hearing Dashrata's faltering speech, Vishwamitra blazed up with anger. Did Dashrata have no faith in him? How dare he refuse his request? Kings and warriors must always respect and obey Brahmins, for this was the sacred law, and Dashrata had already promised to satisfy him. The sage's eyes opened wide with fury as he spoke. After giving your solemn pledge to fulfill my desire, you now decline. This refusal shames your royal lineage and will bring ruin to your race. If you care not about this infamy, then I shall return the way I came. With your promise falsified, you may remain peacefully among your relatives. Seeing Vishwamitra seized with fury, the gods themselves became fearful, and the earth shook. The wise Vashishta, perceiving the imminent danger from Vishwamitra's curse, spoke to the king. Born in the line of the sun god, you are like virtues personified. It does not befit you to abandon righteousness. You always remain firm in your vows and are famed as being fixed in truth. Summon strength from within yourself now. If you fail to redeem your promise, you will lose all the merit that has accrued to you from the performance of pious acts. Send Rama with Vishwamitra. Whether or not Rama has mastered archery is of no consequence, as he will be protected by the sage. Vashishta, who also knew Rama's divine plan, looked at the agonized king. He told him how Vishwamitra had inconceivable power and great learning. Formerly, while ruling over a kingdom, He had received from Shiva the knowledge of every celestial weapon. He would undoubtedly give this knowledge to Rama. Although quite able to punish the Rakshasas himself, Vishwamitra had asked for Rama only to do good to the prince. Dasharatha still appeared doubtful. His hands shook as he folded them, imploring Vishwamitra to relent. Tears streamed from his eyes. Vashishta then took the king aside and spoke in confidence. He told him of Rama's identity. He also said that the arrival of Vishwamitra had been arranged by Providence for the good of the world. The king should therefore have no fear in sending Rama with the sage. Dasharatha was astonished. To him, Rama was his beloved child in need of protection. How could he possibly be the supreme lord? Dasharatha looked at Vashishta, who stood silently gazing into the king's eye. The sage could not possibly tell a lie. Accepting the words of his preceptor and feeling somewhat reassured, Dasharatha agreed to send his son with Vishwamitra, who permitted the king to send Lakshman as well, for Dasharatha knew that Lakshman would never let Ram go out alone for the fight. Dasharatha personally called for his two sons and embraced them both. As his tearful wives watched, the king committed the boys to Vishwamitra's care. Render service to this sage as you would to myself, my dear sons. I shall pray for your safe return. Go now with my blessings. As they parted at the city gates, Vashishta uttered benedictory hymns and prayers. Flowers rained from the skies. Loud blasts of conches and the beating of kettle drums resounded everywhere. Led by the smiling Vishwamitra, Rama and Lakshmana went out from the kingdom, watched by their parents and the citizens until they disappeared into the distance. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Danvat Pranam.
So in this way, Vasishta Muni knew about this was the plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Why he's appeared here. Now he actually told Dasharatha Maharaj was actually, it is the same scene, when Kaikeyi actually demands that, right? Again, Dasharatha Maharaj actually falls down unconscious. So it's a similar state when Dasharatha Maharaj is, completely, shattered, right? Because Lord Ram is very, very dear to him, right? He does not want to leave Lord Ram, who's just about less than 16 years old, to go for a battle with, he mentioned the name Ravana also. Ravana, Subahu, Marich, and all of them. And since Ravana is very famous for killing all the demons and the atrocities that he was doing, right? King Dasharatha himself was not very confident that even if he goes with his entire army, he'd be able to defeat Ravana, right? But ultimately coaxed by Vasishta Muni, right? His own Kulaguru. He could not disobey Vasishta Muni, and also since Vishwamitra was personally asking, and also Vishwamitra he himself is a Rajarishi, right? Very, very powerful, and he could, and it's mentioned here how he himself could destroy these demons, but it is the will of the Lord. And finally, Dasharatha Maharaj, we see, is sending Lord Ram with Vishwamitra. And of course, Rama and Lakshmana are inseparable that way. So Rama and Lakshmana go with Vishwamitra Muni to complete all those tasks of killing this Subahu and Tataka and all these demons. And then finally they go to Mithila, and where Lord Ram wins Mother Sita in the Swayamvar ceremony. So let's go ahead. Chapter 3 with the sage Vishwamitra. Okay, anyone who's not yet read would like to read? Yudhishthira, okay, let me start reading. Anyone else wants to read can raise your hand. Vishwamitra walked ahead. Okay, Archana Shri Radha Mataji, go ahead. And then Shobha Mataji. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Vishwamitra walked ahead of two princes who each carried a bow in hand and had swords strapped to their waist. Wearing on their shoulders two large quivers of arrows, the princes looked like a pair of three-headed serpents following behind the sage. Their brilliant jewels set off their dark complexions. The two resplendent boys added luster even to the shining sage Vishwamitra, as two gods, Skanda and Ganapati, adorned the immortal Shiva. After covering about 12 miles along the beautiful southern bank of Sarayu, they arrived at a stretch of the soft grass sheltered by trees. Vishwamitra stopped and turned towards Ram and Lakshman. Sit here comfortably and sip a little sanctified water for purification. I will now tell you the mystical mantras known as Bala and Atibala. These hymns will confer upon you freedom from all fatigue and fever. Indeed, they will release you from hunger, thirst, and will even prevent decrepitude. While you mutter these sacred spells, none on the earth will be your equal in either battle, intellectual judgment, or argument. Bala and Adibala are sources of all wisdom, being daughters of self-born creator Brahma. Vishwamitra looked upon the brothers' faces and he felt a deep affection for them. Although he knew they were not ordinary men, out of love he wanted to serve them, acting as their teacher and guide. For their part, the princes felt an equal affection for the sage and they gladly reciprocated his love, accepting him as their guru. The sage positioned himself near the seated princess and after sipping the holy water for purification, held up his right palm and began chanting the mantras. With cheerful expression, Rama and Lakshmana received the two hymns from the sage. When the instruction was complete, they rested for the night on the bank of the river, enjoying the cool breeze that wafted gently across the water. Shortly before dawn, Vishwamitra, who had remained awake in the meditation all night, awoke the two princes, calling out to them, O Rama and Lakshmana, O tigers among men, the sun approaches the eastern horizon. Rise up now and perform your ablution. We must proceed. Brothers immediately rose and bathed in the river. After their prayers and meditation, they approached Vishwamitra and bowed at his feet. The sage, having bestowed blessing upon the boys, again led the way as the sun rose upon another cloudless day. Soon they saw the river Ganges, where it met the Sarayu. On the banks of Ganges were many simple dwellings made from leaves and mud, in which there lived a community of ascetics. The princess asked Vishwamitra about the hermitage. The sage, remembering the history of the site, laughed heartily and told them the story of how Cupid had once come to assail Shiva here. A very long time ago, the god of love had a human form. On one occasion, he had been bold enough to fire his arrows of love at unconquerable Shiva. The powerful Shiva, who had been absorbed in the deep meditation at hermitage, became infuriated and gazed at Cupid with his third eye. A seared flame shot out, reducing Cupid's body to ashes. From then on, Cupid became known as Anganga, the
Ananga.
bodiless. What is it, Mataji?
Ananga.
Ananga, the bodiless one, and the land there became known as Anga.
Without a body, yeah.
Finishing the tale, Vishwamitra said, All these sages are disciples of the glorious Shiva. Let us halt for the night here and converse with these mystics, O princess. While Vishwamitra spoke, the ascetics dwelling in the hermitage sensed from the distance the approach of the sage and the princess. Realizing who they were, those worshippers of Shiva, who himself always worships Vishnu, felt happy in heart and came out quickly to greet their exalted guest. Having been graciously received, the three travelers performed their evening rituals and took a simple meal of forest fare. Vishwamitra entertained the assembly with ancient tales of heroes and sages of the past. The following morning, after crossing the Ganges in the boat provided by the aesthetics Vishwamitra, and the princess came to a vast, desolate region. On all sides were huge trees stripped of their foliage. The ground was laid waste, and wind gusted, carrying sand and debris, which lashed their faces. The cries of wild animals and vultures resounded there, and even the sky above was dark and overcast. Rama and Lakshmana looked around. What had happened? The land so far had been beautiful and verdant. Rama asked Vishwamitra, This forest ahead appears inaccessible and foreboding. What is this land inhabited with fierce beasts of prey and presenting such a terrible aspect? Smiling even in the face of that fearful scene, Vishwamitra replied, My dearest Rama, a long time ago, this was the site of two prosperous kingdoms built by the gods. It came to pass one day that Indra became afflicted with sin of killing a Brahmin. Overcome with impurity, Indra sought the powerful rishis, the most exalted of the Brahmins, as his refuge. They performed rituals of purification and bathed his body with Ganges water, which fell here on this tract of land. Pleased with this land for receiving his impurities, Indra blessed it, saying, Here will rise two great kingdoms, which will flourish for many years and will be known as Malada and Karusha. The party had stopped at the edge of the forest of bare trees as Vishwamitra spoke. The way ahead was virtually enveloped by darkness. Terrible sound emanated from the forest. The sage continued telling the brothers about the land. Sometime after Indra had found the cities, there came to that region a Yaksha woman named Tataka, as powerful as 1,000 elephants and able to assume any form she desired. She was mother of Maricha, who now assailed Vishwamitra's hermitage. Fearsome and filled with malice towards all being, Tataka constantly ravaged that land, and thus no one lived there. Although it was once the site of flourishing cities, it was now almost impossible to even approach.
Hare
Turning
Krishna.
toward
Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji can continue. See, these are all wonderful pastimes of the various demons that Rama is going to kill. So there's nothing, if there is anything that needs to discuss, we'll discuss. Otherwise, we'll just continue the pastimes. Yeah. Shobha Mataji, you want to read? Yeah. Unmute Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Matajis and Prabhujis, Hari Bol. Turning towards the princess, Vishwamitra said, the time has now come for the demise of the evil Tataka. You two princes should follow me to the place where she resides. Search her out and end her life immediately. Rama replied with a smile, being a woman, O sage, how can Tataka have such power? Vishwamitra knew that the victorious Rama was hesitant to attack a woman, but Tataka was no ordinary woman. The sage described her background. She had been born as a beautiful daughter of a great and powerful Yaksha named Suketu. As a youth, she was given a boon by Brahma that she would possess the strength of 1,000 elephants. She married the famous Yaksha Sunda, who was eventually killed as result of a curse made by the sage Agastya. When Tataka learned learned of her husband's death, she became infuriated with Agastya and also with her son Maricha. She rushed towards the sage, desiring to kill him. The sage stood his ground. He said to the two advancing yakshas, as you act so wickedly, may you both become demons. O Tataka, you shall lose your attractive form and instead become an ugly man-eating Rakshasi. Agastya then vanished from the spot. Vishwamitra raised his hand and indicated the path ahead of them. Tataka had turned the entire region into a desolate forest by her malevolent presence. She was always angry and would attack anyone who approached the area. Having told the brothers Tataka's history, the sage resumed them. Although the scriptures state that a woman should always be protected and never attacked, in this case you need not fear any sin. The killing of Tataka is necessary for the good of society. One wishing to protect the afflicted must sometimes perform even a seemingly sinful act. This is the eternal duty of kings. For Rama, you should not hesitate. Citing other historical examples of kings and gods who had killed evil women, Vishwamitra urged Rama to quickly kill Tataka. Rama accepted the sage's order and grasped his golden bow, standing ready for combat. He said to Vishwamitra, my father instructed me on leaving Ayodhya that your old order should be followed without hesitation. In obedience, then and your command, I shall now face the furious Rakshasi. I wish to do good to the Brahmins and cow in this region, as well as to satisfy your holy self. Please point out to me the whereabouts of that wicked demon. Vishwamitra led them a little further into the wilderness. Rama twanged his bowstring, which produced a terrific sound, filling the four quarters. All the forest animals were terrified by the noise. Tataka herself was stunned and overcome with anger. Who had dared to challenge her? It was, they would soon regret their foolishness. She came out from her cave and ran towards the source of the sound, screaming horribly. Seeing her at a distance emerging from the forest in a terrible fury, monstrous in size and awful in appearance, Rama said to Lakshmana, behold, my dear brother, this formidable and fearful Yaksha woman. The very sight of the sinful wretch would break the hearts of the timid. Watch me put her to flight with my sharp arrows. In truth, I do not really want to kill her. As she is a woman, I should put an end to her strength and by rendering her immobile and powerless, cutting from her body her hand and feet. As Rama spoke, Tatka rushed towards him roaring, with her arms upraised, uttering a powerful mantra. Vishwamitra checked her progress, calling out, "May victory attend the Ayodhya prince." Creating this cloud of dust, Tataka confounded the princess and disappeared. With her mystic power of illusion, she employed numerous conjuring tricks. She assumed many forms, one after another. Sometimes she appeared in front of the brother, then she would be above them. Then again, she would suddenly appear behind them. One moment, she appeared as a furious horned animal. The next moment, she became a terrible looking friend. Then she swooped down upon them as a great brawl broke. Hurling upon the brothers through rocks and boulders, she screamed fearfully. Rama flew into a rage. He parried the rocks with a shower of shafts and his bow. He shot arrows with blinding speed. His bow appeared to be always bent into a circle. Taking razor-headed arrow, he severed Tataka's two arms even as he came running towards him. Lakshmana also became furious. He released sharp arrows with deadly accuracy and sliced off her nose and ears. The Yakshagana disappeared and rose up to the sky. Even though deprived of her arms, she used her sorcery to throw down more massive trees and mountains. Remaining invisible, she moved hither and thither, screaming all the while. Vishwamitra saw the boys mystified by Rakshasi's illusionary power. He realized they were holding back because Tataka was a woman. The sage called to the brothers, "Have done with your tenderness. This woman should not be spared. Sinful and wicked, she thoroughly deserves death. At your hands, act swiftly to end her life before nightfall, as the demons are always more powerful after sunset." Rama then showed his skill at archery. He released arrows capable of striking an invisible target by seeking out sound, reciting mantras as he let them go. Rama covered Tataka in a network of arrows. Those arrows reduced the falling stones to powder. They pierced the Rakshasi and she screamed in pain. She quickly came down to earth again. Tataka then assumed a vast form and rushed with the force of a tempest towards the two brothers. Rama decided that she should be killed. He quickly fired an arrow infused with the energy of a thunderbolt. It hit the Rakshasi full in the chest. Tataka's heart was ripped apart, and with a hideous cry, she fell down dead. Having watched Rama slay the demons, the god headed by Indra, gods headed by Indra, assembled in the skies and applauded. Celestial flowers rained down on the two princes, acknowledging the god's pleasure. Rama and Lakshmana modestly bowed their heads. The thousand-eyed Indra said to Vishwamitra, "All the gods are gratified with Rama's feat. O holy Brahman, show Rama your affection by giving to him your knowledge of the celestial missiles. A great objective of gods will soon be accomplished by Rama with the use of these weapons." Indra was considering Vishnu's desire that Ravana and Rakshas's hordes be annihilated. As he looked upon the mighty Rama, she knew that the time for the destruction of Rakshasas was imminent. After Indra had spoken, the gods returned to the heaven and twilight fell. Embracing Rama and Lakshmana, Vishwamitra said, "Let us remain for the night in this forest, freed from the curse of Tataka. It is now rendered so very peaceful and attractive. In the morning, we shall continue on to by Guaranteed." The three of them rested for the night, praised by heavenly bards and singers who had assembled in the canopy of the sky. The next morning,
Thank you, Mataji.
thank you, Haribol, Dhanavad.
So, in this way, Vishwamitra, under the guidance of Vishwamitra, Lord Ram, right? Again, the Lord is declaring, right, that even if the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears on this earth, he also takes a spiritual master. He he accepts the orders of the spiritual master. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Because whatever example a leader sets, the common people follow, right? So although it is the general rule that a woman should not be fought in a battlefield, right? Lord Ram was following the principles of dharma, but under special circumstances, time, place, and circumstances, when one receives instructions of a spiritual master, one should follow the orders of the spiritual master, right? One should not think oneself very educated and qualified, right? Because even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he agreed, he listened to the words of Vishwamitra Muni and he killed Tataka. And of course, he got a lot of mantras, which is going to make Lord Ram invincible and very powerful. Of course, the Lord does not need, but yet the Lord received all those from Vishwamitra Muni, who is also a devotee. So in that sense, we understand the importance of accepting the instructions of a spiritual master and following the instructions of the spiritual master. Then we will be victorious in all of our battles, right, against Maya in this material world. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Krishna tells Arjuna, tadvidi pranipatena, right? One should surrender at the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master, pariprashnena sevaya, and one should inquire submissively and also render service to one's spiritual master. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The spiritual master will reveal the transcendental knowledge in the heart of the disciple because he has already seen the truth. So in this way, we see how Tataka was killed, and then they proceed forward to kill various other demons, and then finally they will go to Mithila, where Lord Ram will win over Sita Devi in the Swayamvar. So let's end our session here. We'll quickly do a little bit of Harinam Sankirtan. We'll end our session. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Bhavan Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sitaram Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Prachari Nirvisensa Sundravani Asatya Dishatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Jagannath Jai Jai Baladev Jai Jai Subhadra Jai Jai Sudarshan Jai Bala Gopal Jai Rukmini Vithal Jai Radha Singha Jai Lakshmi Singha Jai Radhe Krishna Jai Sita Ram Jai Radhe Ram Jai Sadhu Swami Jai Guru Parampara Jai Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Gaur Hari Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Shri Sitaram Lakshmi Hanuman Ji ki Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. So thank you, devotees. We'll meet you all tomorrow morning at 4:30 for the Brahma Muhurta chanting session, and then we will meet at tomorrow Saturday. So we will not have our study session, but we will meet for our Brahma Muhurta chanting session tomorrow morning. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.